Good day, sports fans. Welcome to Vegas Legends Week 11, brought to you by GamblersWorld.net, where you'll find the finest sports handicappers in America posting their games on a daily basis with premier and complimentary winners. The finest panel in America right here. There's no doubt about it. We have Mr. Jim Feist, the most distinguished and renowned handicapper in the nation, known as the godfather of sports handicapping. And of course, we got Paul Bovi. He is our roaming foreign correspondent out in Toronto right now, trying to avoid the New York crime. And of course, we have Scott Pritchard, one of the leading handicappers, professionals, contest winners. And we're going to update contests this week. We're going to do NFL content, and we've got a lot going for us. Welcome, guys. I'm glad you're all here once again, all of us. And we have what we say, we give the analysis and the insight to the NFL where you'll find nowhere else. Right here, gamblersworld.net. Hey, guys, week 11, we got a lot of things going right now. And I was wondering what you felt about the situation where we had once stated early on when the team was 1-5 that they were the favorite to win their division. And that is, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. And also, I want to bring up the fact that the number one betting favorite to get to the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs, right now are out of the playoffs. Jim, you have anything to say about that? I mean, do you think Kansas City is going to rally and get there?
Well, this is a big game this week. Denver is up and down mostly because of Bo Nix. He's very, inconsistent. If he plays a consistently good game, their defense has a good chance of beating Kansas City. I can't believe you could take 4.5 at home with them. I'm not going to play that game at this point, not yet, right now. But in the beginning, I thought Denver could win this division, and I'm not totally wrong about that. However, I would say that if the Chargers' offensive line was a little bit better, I'd probably go with the Chargers. I like the way they're playing more than the other two teams. Right. Kansas City, a couple of weeks ago, everybody's saying this is the number one team in the country in both AFC and NFC. I don't see it. They're inconsistent as well. So, I'd probably lean to the dog, but I'm not going to play it at this point.
All right, we'll end up starting with this game, Paulie. The thing that took me back a little about this game, and Jim even mentioned it, is the Chiefs being favored. I mean, here's a team that's 8-2. I believe Denver are. Let's put it this way: they're leading the division, and that's a pretty strong number to be an underdog.
Well, look at this. Look at it this way: Denver's 8-2 right now. Started off the year, they struggled against the Tennessee Titans. That game was 20-12, but there were multiple passes dropped over the middle by the Titans, notably Calvin Ridley. And then you go to the Jet game. They prevail by 2. The Giant game, 1. The Raiders, they win by 7. The Texans, 3. C.J. Stroud goes out of the game with a concussion early on, or there would have been a different result. So I don't have a lot of faith in this team. Sure, they look great against the Cowboys, but everybody looks great against the Cowboys. So Bo Nix getting the ball downfield, a lot of questions there. The Chiefs are clearly the better team. Do they deserve to be 4 points on the road? Well, that's the big if here, but I think the Chiefs will probably get it done. They are just a much better football team. And again, go down that docket with the Broncos. Not very impressive.
All right. Before we get the final opinion here from Mr. Futures, and I'm talking about a man that prevails and makes a living by playing these contests here in Las Vegas, Scott Pritchard. Scott is one of 8 people left for $555,000 at the Westgate Survivor Contest. He's one of 1,000 people left for $18 million at the Circa Survivor Contest. He's coming off a 5-0 Circa Millions and in the top 5 after finishing 6th and 3rd in the 2 previous years. And Scott, you were 10-0 the last 2 weeks, 5-0 each week with the RJ. Just keep these winners coming. That's why we're here. And congratulations for being on such a good run, and good luck in these contests the rest of the way out. But how do you see this Kansas City game? Go ahead.
I want to thank you for that 5-star, rock star, superstar introduction. That might be one of the absolute best introductions that I've ever written. So thank you for that. I will say that Imagine going 10-0 against the number in the Las Vegas Review-Journal, college football versus the number. 5-0, 5-0, and yet I'm still looking up to our host, the legend, Chip Chirimbes. Chip is world-class and kicking ass in this contest each and every year, and it's an honor to be invited back just to, it's like we're all playing for second place, but Chip, once again, congrats. You're in first place, world-class, kicking ass. Continued good luck, my man. I do want to talk about this Denver Bronco overhyped, overrated football team. Are you kidding me? There are only 3 numbers. Forget the point spread. 3 numbers you need to know. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, the Broncos are 8-2. Congrats. The bad news is they beat the hapless, hopeless, coachless, literally coachless New York Giants by 1 in a miracle win by scoring 33 points at home. Are you kidding me? 2, they beat on a neutral field the hapless, hopeless New York Jets, Jets. And last but not least, they beat the pathetic, antique-led Las Vegas Raiders by 3. And this is a team we're going to hype. I did have lunch with the legend Jim Feist in August, and I have to say what I can do, Jim can do better. I told him that I have 6 figures riding on the 49ers to make the playoffs at -160, the Rams to make the playoffs at -160, 6 figures, winner, steak and lobster dinner. But Jim came back in August and said, hey, man, I'm high. Maybe he just stopped right there. No, he said, I'm high on the Denver Broncos, and I'm high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So once again, Jim has the vision. He's a pioneer. He's a dinosaur. He's been doing this long before we even thought about doing it. So again, world-class handicapper. The Denver Broncos will have their asses handed to them this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs are the best 5-4 team that you'll see in a long time. They are hungry. They're healthy. And they are the much better team. Denver is a fraud, even though they're still gonna, they've been blessed with a good record, but the Kansas City Chiefs are head and shoulders above this team. The 4.5 to be the first half line.
All right, there you are. And, you have strong opinions from people. And by the way, I know Jim Feist very well. And the only way he's high is on emotion. And he may be for this game, Jim, but I don't want anyone to get any wrong opinions about your position, shall we say. Now, Jim, I gotta come back with you again, Scott. New York, I know this is your favorite. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about the Giants here. They're getting 7 at least from Green Bay. Green Bay certainly didn't look very good on Monday night. We both were very disappointed. And Giants are 2-8. They're without your coach. I mean, you just raved about this guy week after week, and now the Giants have jettisoned them. How do you think they're going to turn out?
Well, again, I've been saying it for years. I mean, anytime you lose at home against an average division rival in the Dallas Cowboys, 40-0, that was just 2 short years ago. And the fact that this clown was coach of the year is another travesty. Last year, they won 3 games, 3-14, and this year, 2-8. And they actually have some talent at the skilled positions. But again, no leadership, one bonehead decision after another with Dable. So they did the right thing by canning his lame ass. But the Giants are still the Giants. The Packers, no need to worry here. I said 2 weeks ago when they lost at home to Carolina, hey, it's just 1 game. Last week they lost again. Hey, it's just 1 game. If I'm on here next week saying, hey, it's 1 game, just 1 game, we've got a problem. We've got a concern. The Detroit Lions are the favorite to win that division. I'm not conceding a copper penny. The Packers have too much talent. The problem is they've been banged up and hurt with the wide receivers, not 1, not 2, but 3. And it really pissed me off because Monday night I had Jordan Love even money over Red Rover, 20.5 completions. He had 20, but there were 7 dropped balls. That's why they call it gambling, boys and girls.
That's why we call it gambling. Absolutely.
The Packers, definitely the right side.
Okay, Paulie, here's a New York veteran fan. Now, we in this industry growing up, of course, had our favorites. So we had teams we root for. And now we have to be totally objective, and we have to throw out our biases and make selections. And Paulie, I know, is a New Yorker. And what do you think about Jameis Winston getting in the start there now, Paul?
There used to be a game show, and they used to sequester the contestant in a soundproof booth. I feel like that contestant because as the show has been running, I cannot hear one word that either Scott or Jim says. So anyway, I'll have to listen to the replay because I want to get those educated opinions. But as far as the Giants go, Green Bay's record on the road laying points has been, I'm going to call it deplorable. It's been really bad. Their offense has struggled, and major downgrade with the absence of Tucker Kraft. Their yards per play go down substantially. He's injured. He's out for the year. He was Jordan Love's favorite target. I can't lay points on the road, and I certainly think Jameis Winston, he's kept a very positive attitude while he's ridden the pine. I don't understand why he hasn't played to this point. They got him off a cheap contract. I never understood why they signed Russell Wilson when they had him available. I think the Giants are going to be competitive here. If you're asking me which side to go on here, and you point a gun to my head, how do you not take the Giants? How do you lay 7 points on the road with the Green Bay Packers, who have shown little? I mean, this is a team that lost to Carolina. I don't get it. Well, so I'd have to go with the Giants.
Obviously, you have no love that the Packers are going to get to the Super Bowl. But, the Giants here, you got to be heartbroken. They're without their 3 biggest offensive threat. Neighbors is absolutely a fabulous receiver. He's down. Scottaboo's down. And now Dart's gone. Giants have had a horrible year and doesn't look like it's really going to get much better. This is a get-well game for Green Bay. They need this. I mean, this team 4 weeks ago was one of the teams we were talking about making it to the Super Bowl, and yet now they're at 5-3-1 and 3-6 against the number, by the way, which is not good. I want to get to a game. There are a number of games here that are of great interest, and one is Tampa Bay traveling to Buffalo. And the number I saw was 5.5. Buffalo was favored, and Tampa's coming off that loss to New England. And Jim, they're both 6-3. You think Buffalo is that big an advantage over Tampa Bay right now to be 5.5?
Well, you do have a Florida team, warm weather team up in Buffalo where you can get some weather, and there's going to be some weather. A lot of wind and some gusts in these ballparks. And, Buffalo, I mean, Josh Allen is pretty damn good. I've never been in love with their head coach. I think they've wasted Josh Allen in many ways. Baker Mayfield is still a damn good quarterback.
Yeah.
They haven't played one game this year where they've been healthy. I mean, they've offensive linemen out, wide receivers out, running backs out. I don't know who the hell is going to play this week, but Tampa Bay is a very dangerous team. They weren't that far behind last week against the Patriots. It was still a battle. They battle, and Baker will battle. I actually personally took 6 with Tampa Bay in this game.
All right, Paulie, do you think Tampa can rebound off of that loss they suffered last week to New England?
It's a sketchy game, and I don't have a strong opinion. And the reason is that Tampa has lost a lot of weapons. I think Godwin going out along with Evans has really put a damper on their passing game and the things that Baker Mayfield normally can do. I mean, Ibuka has been great. He's likely going to be the rookie of the year, but you need those weapons. So Buffalo has not looked good. Amazingly, they dispatched of the Kansas City Chiefs in pretty easy fashion, put Patrick Mahomes on the ground, I think 3 times, hit him numerous times. But outside of that, they have not played good football. Yeah. Their defense has been shaky, leaky. So if anything, I would grab the points here with Tampa Bay, but it wouldn't be a confident take.
All right, let me wrap up this game with the Bills and the Buccaneers with the TikTok media star. We're going to go to Scott Pritchard. Scott, how do you see this one?
Well, I have a strong opinion here. First of all, adverse weather neutralizes talent, which is a double whammy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they don't have any talent. And it's namely because, as Mr. Feist and Mr. Bovi both alluded to the fact they've been banged up and hurt. The fact is, Tampa Bay, their record not as good. Their record better than how they actually are because they had not one, not two, not three, but 4 games early that they won inside of the last 40 seconds. So to me, they are a bit of an anomaly. Now they're on the road. Say what you want to say about the Buffalo Bills, but the fact is this team is a top 12 defense. They're a top 3 offense, and they're number 1 in the league in rushing the ball. They're also world beaters at home, and this game is in Buffalo. Think about this for a second. They dismantled the Baltimore Ravens in Buffalo when Baltimore was healthy. They took it to the Kansas City Chiefs as well. So they play extremely well at home. Their problem lies when they go on the road, a la Atlanta, a la last weekend against the Miami Dolphins in a division game. It surprised me. I would never lay points on the road in a division game, but the fact that they lost 30-13 was a very unpleasant surprise. But the fact is, it's a new week. Last week is history. This week is a mystery, but I'm solving it. Play the Bills, see the cashier.
Yeah, this seems to me like a big spot for the Bills in a matter of need. And we'll see. Laying that kind of points to a team with equal record, team that's a playoff club, it should be a great matchup as it is. And by the way, we are the Vegas Legends, Week 11 of NFL analysis. GamblersWorld.net. Just log on, follow the buy links. And by the way, give us a like and subscribe and share with your friends so they can receive this vital information. This is analysis you will receive nowhere else. These people have insights and do this for a living. They're not just making selections every single day. They put their opinion on the line or they don't eat. All right, we're going to go to another game. Seattle and the LA Rams. I love this one. You got Seattle 7-2. The Rams are 7-2. They're both 7-2 against the points. And I'm going to come right back to you, Jim. Sam Darnold, I guess he's proven his worth after having a great season at Minnesota. They jettisoned him out to Seattle, and now it's the Seahawks that are the threat in the NFC. Matt Stafford, he's still the same. The guy's an all-pro. Jim, what do you see between the Sonics and the Rams? Sonics.
Matt Stafford's been incredible. I mean, he had those 12 years in Detroit, which was always a bad team, but he was always great. And he's been incredible. Darnold, he had a life-changing experience in Minnesota, and at the end of the year, they made a big mistake letting him go because J.J. McCarthy is not ready to be an NFL starting quarterback. He might end up being a very good NFL quarterback, but it's not yet. Not yet. They made a mistake letting this guy go. So Darnold, I mean, they got the wide receivers, they got the running game, they got the defense, they got everything going for them. They got a good coach, but they're running up against a team on the road in the Rams who might be the best team in football. It's going to be a war. This is going to be a hell of a game. This is, to me, the best game of the weekend, and very difficult to handicap, very difficult to call. I'm not getting in front of this one. The two defenses might be the dominant factors here, but the offenses can't be ignored. And I don't know, offenses seem to take over no matter how good the defenses are. And we're not going to have to deal with weather. So I would lean to the over in this game.
And Jim, the total is 48.5, and I think that's a high number. So maybe, like you said, the offenses might override the defenses in this one. Let me go to Paulie. Paulie, it's a big matchup in the NFC. The Rams, and I know there's people on this panel that have a big interest in this game. I was wondering how you felt about it.
So I had a pretty big play on the Rams last week because I figured they'd light it up against the Niners, and they did. But if you look at this Rams defense, Mac Jones, the last 2 times they played the Niners, 66 of 88 for a pretty decent amount of yardage. In between those 2 Niner games, one of which they lost, thank you very much, I got eliminated from the Westgate Survivor on the strength of that loss, and the one they won last week, they faced Trevor Lawrence. They dispatched of the Jaguars pretty easily. I mean, that was a game. It wasn't even competitive start to finish. And they also got Tyler Shaw and Cooper Rush. So they really haven't faced much in the way of quarterbacks. And I think they're coming up against a defense here that's pretty doggone good. And the offense has been humming. I mean, I didn't expect Sam Darnold to perform at the level that he has. And I think Minnesota discarded him last year on the strength of that season-ending loss to the Lions, which was ugly. And then they went out easily in the playoffs, and Darnold had another miserable performance. But he has really stepped up this year. I expect Seattle to be very competitive here and possibly win the game and show that they are the best team in the NFC right now. And they've sustained some injuries in the secondary, but it hasn't seemed to matter. Seattle, I think, is going to get the win.
All right, there you have it. Now, I have a man here who last August was telling me that the Rams are the side in the NFC. So, Scotty, I mean, does your prediction early in August affect your opinion on how this game's going to end up?
I always wipe the slate clean. It's a 3-hour contract, nothing more, nothing less. I do have a strong opinion in this matchup. First of all, the Seattle Seahawks. Congrats, you're 7-2. That's the good news. The bad news is the word of the day is overrated, overhyped. I know that's 2 words, but that's because I'm doubling down on my analysis here. Please, someone tell me you're only as good as the teams that you beat. And the Seattle Seahawks have beaten nobody. The Los Angeles Rams will stick it to the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle couldn't even win at home against the San Francisco 49ers. What makes anyone think they're going to go on the road and beat the absolute best team in football? And when I'm done with this podcast today, I'm heading down and I'm backing up the truck to unload, and I'm betting the Rams to win the division. The odds makers have got it wrong. They're saying it's a coin toss between Seattle and the Rams. Are you kidding me? Give me the Rams. See the cashier.
You know, Scotty, I really wish you'd give us a real opinion on these games, but we know who you like here. And, this is a big game for you for the Rams. And you've been on them all along. And I must say to everyone that he's been right more than anything else. I got an interesting game here. By the way, Paulie, do you know that Bill Belichick is considered to be the head coach for the New York Giants? Nah.
Yeah, and that would be a look. He's been around a while.
Not going to happen.
What's that?
I said it's not going to happen.
It's probably not going to happen. I'd like to see it happen. I mean, look, you can't take anything away from the man. He is a proven winner, but hopefully this wouldn't be another Phil Jackson situation where the Knicks bring in a proven winner and he ends up falling on his face. But I mean, the man is in his 70s, but I'm sure he has coaching know-how that not a lot of coaches on the street have. And I would like to see it happen. Will it happen? Doubtfully. I don't think there's going to be a meeting of the minds there. And Bill will probably just leave North Carolina quietly and fade off into the sunset.
The Giants have enough problems without having to transfer their defensive coordinator to an offensive coordinator. They don't need anything along that. Scotty, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just that Bill Belichick is every man's hero. I mean, the guy is a proven winner when it comes to coaching, countless Super Bowl wins. But in addition to that, I mean, the dude's in his 70s and he's banging a hot 24, 25-year-old girl, so he's every man's hero. I know he's my hero.
Hey, Jim, you don't think there's any chance of him going to New York, do you?
I don't want to see it happen. I think
I know. We see this in the New York tabloids. Forgive me for calling the New York Post a tabloid.
I think once he lost Brady in New England, he wasn't very good.
Is Ollie Sherman still alive? I mean, maybe they can get Ollie or Alex Webster. You never know.
That would be. Now, there's a game here of interest, strictly because of the teams involved. I mean, you got a 3-6 Cincinnati club. Disappointment to everybody on the air. They're 3-6 overall against the number. Against the Steelers. Now, this is a matchup of what? Of a quarterback that's aged so much, he's so slow and can't move the ball. And Pittsburgh Steelers at 5-4 aren't expected to win it all in this division, are they? I'm going to come back with you, Scott. I mean, the Ravens are the favorite here. Do you think the Pirates, you think the Steelers can maintain here and overcome the Bengals? And this is a big game for the Bengals, regardless.
First of all, people are excited about Joe Burrow coming back eventually, right? Sooner than
Right.
later, probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. But the fact is, they were a dog shit team when he played. They were healthy week one, healthy and hungry. Until they get rid of Zach Taylor, they have no shot at doing anything.
Right.
The fact is, they scored 80 points in 2 games and went 0-2. You can't win if you cannot stop the opposition. And they lost to the Jets and they lost to the Bears. I mean, it's not like they're losing to world beater teams here. So, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are a complete fraud. I said this when the Ravens were 1-5, and I was on an island by myself saying that the Ravens, forget making the playoffs, they're going to come back and win the division. Right. I said, watch and learn. Well, everyone's been watching and everyone's learning, and no one's laughing and mocking and heckling me now. Who's laughing now, bitches? I'm telling you, the Baltimore Ravens will win that division. The Pittsburgh Steelers are lame. This game with the Bengals is a hard pass for me. I don't respect either team.
Jim, you think the Steelers can maintain and make a little bounce back here? I mean, Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked good at all in the last couple of games. I'm
not impressed at all, offensively or defensively, by Pittsburgh. I am impressed, though, however, and this is kind of crazy, Flacco has played very well for Cincinnati. You can't argue it. He doesn't play defense. And last game, he put up 450 yards. He's very smart. He's very accurate with his passes. He's always been a very good thrower of the ball, and he can read defenses very well. That's the one thing they got going for them. So I don't know, even if they brought back Burrow, I don't see that there would be much of a difference. I mean, when you have a quarterback that puts up 450 yards, what do you expect Burrow to come back and put up 700 yards? I mean, come on. It's all a defensive problem. Now, the first time they met, there was a high-scoring game. You got to remember, this is a high-wind game with a lot of high gusts in the game. Bad weather, possibly rain. I think it will be rain. So there's a lot going on here. I don't like this. I don't like the Steelers. I think the Ravens are going to win this division. The interesting thing is, if Cincinnati, and it's a big if Cincinnati can win this game, they're in the mix to to win this division. And that is crazy. It is really crazy because they're absolutely terrible on defense, one of the worst in the league. But I would like to take the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. I lean that way, but the weather really bothers me because you have to depend on the passing game. That's what gets affected by high winds and high gusts, and that's what's both are predicted for this game. So it's very difficult.
Right. Paulie, Scotty mentioned coaches, and there's certainly a number of them that he's not pleased with. Do you weigh that factor in as strongly as Scotty does when you're evaluating a game?
Probably not. I just how the team has performed to that point is a reflection of the coaching. Now, when you mention the Steelers and the Bengals, how can you have a lot of faith in the Steelers and what they've done? They've fallen apart in the second half against both the Packers and Chargers. They won games against New England and the Jets that they shouldn't have won. And you look back at that first game of the season, and they gave up 32 points to the Jets and Justin Fields, and the Jets ran right through them. So if we're still on the Steelers and Bengals, if Joe Flacco plays, and again, he's questionable, but more than likely he will play. If they get Henderson back in the lineup, that would be a huge plus for the Bengals. I got to take the points here. I'm not laying points with the Pittsburgh Steelers and that inconsistent offense, that poor defense. So I would grab the points with the Bengals. And as far as coaching goes, coaching means a lot. And normally, again, it's reflected in the performance of the team to that point. And that's why Brian Daboll got fired, deservedly so. The Giants weren't performing, and they exposed Jackson Dart to an extreme. So goodbye, Brian Daboll. Hopefully better things to come for the New York Football Giants.
Well, thank you for that, Paulie. All right, we have 2 more games, guys, that I want to go over real quick. That may have some significance. The Niners are at, oh my goodness, Arizona. How bad is that team? Murray's not even playing anymore. He may be playing center field for the A's real soon. But San Francisco's a 2.5, 3-point favorite at Arizona. Scott, I'll come to you. That seems like an awful short number to me, the way this Cardinal team has been playing. Um, Awful low, 2.5, it moved to 3. We got the Niners and the Cardinals.
Well, it seems like a short number to you, Chip, because you're smart and you're sharp, and I agree with you 110%. The bad news is this brings up a bad memory. I broke my cardinal rule. When I'm dealing with a small favorite, I tend not to lay a 1.5 or 2. I'll just proactively get a cheap money line.
Right.
But when these two teams played earlier in the year, I said, hey, come on, I'll lay the 1.5. I'll save some extra juice. I'll lay the 1.5. It's not going to fall 1. Well, sure enough, 16-15 or 15-14 was the final. And the San Francisco 49ers, they're bringing on the dancing girls and putting the champagne on ice. Meanwhile, I'm a loser. So again, to your point, I like the Niners on the road, cheap money line.
I see the money line, and I'd advise everyone, like you didn't do that time. When you get that line 1.5 or 2, I think it's a value worth your while to lay the money line so that you don't get caught like that. I profess that all the time. Listen, before you fall asleep, Paulie, why don't you give me a little analysis on this Niner and Arizona game?
I'm not falling asleep. It's just that I'm craving to hear these analyses by Scott and Jim, and I can't hear anything. But let me give you mine.
Okay.
I played Arizona in the over pretty big early in the week. Unfortunately, Marvin Harrison Jr. comes down with appendicitis. He's going to be out a couple weeks. So the line, which I got a 48, went to 49.5, comes back into 48. And now the 2.5 has become a 3, which makes a lot of sense. The thing with the 49ers is they don't pressure the quarterback. And that's why Matt Stafford went off last week. And that's why pretty much every quarterback has success against them. They've sacked the quarterback this year 12 times. They've hit the quarterback 28 times. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
So you got to figure Jacoby Brissett, even though he doesn't have his main weapon, is still going to have a lot of time to pass. Maybe he can get it downfield to Wilson and Dortch, but he does have an all-world tight end in McBride, and I could see Arizona staying in the game here and putting up points because, again, those Niners, you don't pressure the quarterback. Every quarterback in the league is going to look great if they don't get pressure. These are all professional quarterbacks, and Brissett has looked excellent at times, and at times he has struggled. He struggled last week against Seattle, but this is not Seattle. So I would grab the points with the Arizona Cardinals.
Jim, to validate Paul's point about a lack of a pass rush, the Niners went 12 consecutive games without an interception. And, forcing that quarterback to throw early or to throw when he's uncomfortable is key to intercepting passes on defense. How do you see this one coming out?
Well, I like Arizona in the game. And the reason is I don't like where San Francisco is. These injuries that they've suffered all year. There's some teams that are just banged up. And for San Francisco, it was last year the same thing. I don't know what it is. Preparation, working out, physical fitness, nurse. I don't know what the hell it is, but they're always hurt. And I saw them against Houston, and Houston had no offensive line. They had wide receivers are out. They couldn't get off the field. Their defense was on the field. They could not get to the quarterback, just as Paul pointed out. And I think that's going to be the case here as well. I think at home, coming off the embarrassment last week, I think Brissett and company is going to put up a hell of a battle.
Okay.
I like the dog here.
We have one more game to go, guys, but this Arizona team with Murray was absolutely terrible. And as a collective group, I think they're looking to come back. San Francisco, of course, quarterback issues. Is Brock going to be there or is Jones going to be there? It seems like a short number. A lot of people early in the year, and we may even discuss this, we're discussing the fact that the Niners' schedule was really weak and that a lot of people bet them to get into the playoffs because their schedule was so weak. And coming off last year where they had a plethora of injuries, and it seems like the injury bug has hit them again, and that soft schedule maybe isn't coming into play as much as we had thought it might have if they were going to be at full strength. But the Niners right now, they're 6-4 and they're in the hunt. And I know if they win here and the Rams do their thing, it's going to come down to their battle at the end before it's over. Sorry about that, Scotty. It's got to happen. All right. The final game that we're going to talk about is Sunday night. I'm going to leave the Raider game out because I don't even think they're worth discussing right now. And Detroit is going to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's off that Monday night win. And Detroit has been a little disappointing, I think. I mean, they're 6-3 straight up and against the number. Philly's at 7-2. Philly's those favored here, and I'm really wondering what's going to happen on this one because Philadelphia, have they started to turn it on? Have they just turned the corner and said, okay, now we're going to get serious? They are 6-3 against the number, Jim, and coming off that Monday night performance where they didn't look good at all, Green Bay virtually just was so inept that Philadelphia had to win the game. So how do you see this game now against Detroit? High-powered offense.
I cannot say that Philadelphia has begun to turn it on. They did not look good the other night. Now, I had them and I won with them, but Green Bay was horrible. And I don't know how the hell they won that game, but they did, and I'm happy for that. They have a lot of talent. They're not the same team as they were a year ago. They lost some players on offense and defense. And Detroit is, boy, I'll tell you, they're an indoor team playing outdoors. That's tough. That's always been a tough scenario. But if you don't get to Goff, and that is an issue here, if they don't get to Goff, he'll pick them apart, and their running game is very strong as well. I think this is it's pick 'em basically, and you have to say if you can get 3, and I've seen it climb to 3, I think the dog might be live here.
All right. Paulie, we have a game here where Philadelphia's won 3 straight. They've won the last 2 meetings over the last 3 years against the Lions. Lions disappointed everybody in the playoffs last year, except for us Washington backers, of course. They are still 6-3, and they're off crushing Washington in a revenge game. This is a great matchup, Detroit and Philly. It could be an NFC final.
It could be, but to render an opinion on this game, you really have to look at the injury report, especially if you like Philadelphia, because they got really banged up in that Green Bay win. They have 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 offensive linemen who are questionable coming into this week's game. Several of them did not practice at all on Wednesday. So Philly basically is driven by that offensive line. That's how Barkley got all those yards last year, because his productivity really ramped up when he came from the Giants and went to the Eagles and got 2,000 yards. So I got to take a look at the status of these guys before I can render a decision here, an educated one at that. So I'm going to take a pass on the game, and I'm sure it'll be a good one either way when they play come Sunday night.
All right, thank you, Paul. And that's the factor everyone should always be considering is that you don't have to play a game. And just because it's there, you don't have to make a bet. Remember, you should be looking to make money and not just be interested in entertainment. Scotty, you and I talked about Barkley going under the total this year. He had that big bust-out game against the Giants and then reverted back to playing to the under. And you think the injuries that Paul mentioned are going to have a factor on this game, or you just think it's just a time and place for one of these teams?
It will not have an effect when you're playing the Detroit Lions. And I like what you say, Chip. You don't have to ever play a game, but in this matchup, I have to play this game. I get the Eagles at home, short, cheap money line against the self-serving, self-promoting prick of a coach and Dan Campbell, who had to remind everyone, hey, I'm calling the plays. Hey, I'm calling. Yeah, you can do that, okay, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Self-Promoter. You can do that when you're a double-digit favorite against a weak sister. Let's see what you have to say about calling the plays when you have your asses handed to you, going to Philly, outdoors, on grass, hostile environment. The fans will be ready. Give me Sirianni over Campbell. In fact, give me anybody over Campbell. I like Philly.
Thank you, Scotty. And by the way, thank you to the panel here with gamblersworld.net. Remember to follow the buy links because these guys are established and proven winners. Gamblersworld.net, Scott Pritchard, Paul Bovi, Jim Feist, and myself, Chip Chirimbes. We thank you for viewing. We'll be back next week with Week 12 and NFL action. Until then, the best of luck, everyone. And guys, thank you so much. And I hope to see you again. Now, next week, we may have, is it Thanksgiving next week? Or is it the week after? But we'll have to make arrangements anyway to make sure we get this done. Jim, you do something on 12 on Wednesday. So if we move it up early, we might be able to maintain this time. All right. Thank you, everyone. GamblersWorld.net. I'll catch you next week.